Hey, this is Sierra Bailey from Manic Trout. Today I'm cutting up vintage scarves for necklaces that I have coming out in the both fall-winter line and for the holiday collection. And as I'm cutting, I thought I would tell you how I came about to have vintage scarves in my jewelry. My dad is a total, what I'm realizing they now call picker nowadays, and has for many years collected random things. He both visits like the recycling dump center where he lives, and people give him things all the time. And somebody gave him a huge pile of vintage silk scarves, and I think this might have been in the original pile. And let me tell you, I love this scarf, and it just screamed a little bit when I cut it. It's very kind of upsetting to do that. But vintage scarves, as beautiful as they are overall, when you look at them, they have little imperfections. There's some dirt, some things going on. They start to have little picks in the silk, maybe those little teeny holes that you get from vintage scarves. And basically, I wanted to do something with this pile of scarves my dad gave me. So I kind of played around with a few things, and I discovered that when you cut them up and re-sew them, you can make them into jewelry. And, you know, the first one I ever cut up, I almost cried when I cut it that I was going to do something really wrong. I've, over many years of using the scarves now, I have a rotary cutter, I use the mats, you know, it's a much simplified process and goes really fast, but whew, that first one was tough. However, the first scarf that I cut up and turned into a necklace, instantly I knew that it was kind of a brilliant way to bring an unusual material into jewelry, as it's beautiful on its own. It's repurposing something that is just kind of tragic to see let go away, and it is comfortable to wear too. So I make both very large statement necklaces and bracelets out of the scarves. I have more of one of the styles coming out this winter, and I have a whole new design coming too. Over the years, in addition to the surplus from my dad, I've started looking for amounts of scarves more online. I have found that if you try to buy them in antique stores and whatnot, they're usually in really good condition. And it makes me sad to cut up a scarf that is still able to be worn in its whole, because, you know, I like to repurpose something that is damaged, not necessarily just cut up something that's usable, or that's really not the point of it at all. eBay's actually been pretty good to me about that. I have had some very generous friends go through their old collections or their mom's collections and find some for me as well, which is pretty great because I will gravitate to the same colors over and over again. And if somebody else tends to curate what they're giving me, I get a much better selection of non-hot pink or blue and green. Those tend to be what I go to the most. Obviously, cutting up a scarf does not make it into a perfect thing. Once I get from this point, I will then pin it, sew it to the desired length that I want, and at that point then it will go into a necklace or a bracelet. The kind of coolest point about cutting up the scarves is that the initial overall pattern is usually pretty transformed when you cut it up. So you're not always getting the same, like you're, ooh, that was the two. Adam, you didn't see that. You're not getting the same look. You're getting like a cross section of what the pattern was. So cutting up a scarf can result in a different look of the material as well, which I love. If you watched the video about my finding inspiration from a bug, you will recognize this scarf a little bit. And you are now seeing phase 2 of what's happening with the bug necklace. The other phase is getting the glass part ready. And very shortly after this process is done, I'm going to be able to show you phase 3. All right, so that didn't take that long. Once you get over the sound of your scarf screaming, it's okay. And now, one scarf will produce 6 necklaces, which I can't wait to share with you. Thanks.